morning, Joe got taken off the air. Did you guys see? We reported on it right here on the Trish Regan show. And the MSNBC anchors, Joe and Mika, were apparently told this was just protocol. They were taking everybody off the air, except they didn't. They didn't. And then Mika and Joe found out about it. So now they're responding and woo, they are not happy. You can feel it. They're seething with anger. These little crybabies, they got their show taken off. 5 hours of television that they have. My gosh, take a peek.
To briefly talk to our friends and viewers that watch us every day and talk about what happened yesterday. We were told in no uncertain terms on Sunday evening that there was going to be one news feed across all NBC News channels yesterday. The Today Show would be Lester Holt, other people that you worked with on Sunday, and that was going to be one news feed across all NBC News channels, that we were going to stay as a network in breaking news mode throughout all day yesterday. That did not happen. We don't know why that didn't happen. Our team was not given a good answer as to why that didn't happen, but it didn't happen. We were also told it was going to happen throughout the day. And I guess after there was such a strong blowback about yesterday morning, I guess they changed their plans. And so those plans changed as well. So it didn't. We've talked about it off the air. We'll talk about it on the air because we talk about everything on the air. We were very surprised. We were very disappointed. And if we had known that there wasn't going to be the one news feed from NBC News across all NBC News channels, Willie, we obviously would have been in yesterday morning.
Yeah, I was here up early on Sunday morning with NBC's coverage. Savannah and I led the coverage on Sunday in the immediate aftermath, talking to eyewitnesses, talking to officials about what happened. Obviously suited up and ready to go for yesterday morning on a big morning, and we're told that something else was going to be broadcast. So we are here today going through a lot, catching up a little bit, but we want to be here for our audience, and we know you trust us, and we have ultimate respect for you guys. So we are here today. I wish we'd been here yesterday.
Yeah, we all wish we would have been here yesterday. We still would like to figure out exactly why there wasn't that one news feed.
And I think the reason why is this show began and continues 17 years later on being the place where you can go to have the hard conversations in a civil way. And so it seemed like now more than ever is a time that we would like to be on. And I think our viewers agree with that. So we continue. We are 5 minutes past the top of the...
So they got blindsided. They got poor Mika and Joe. Boy, are they upset. The little crybabies, they are just so mad. They got taken off and, Rachel still got to go on. How'd that happen? So they're not happy. But I think what ultimately was really going on, and this has been reported by some outlets, NBC News had to make a decision. They had to understand that so much of the vitriol that is out there, so much of the hate is actually coming from the media that has fueled this. And so Brian Roberts, who's a little more down the middle of the road, right? He's a business guy. This is the CEO of Comcast, is looking at it going, gee, did I inadvertently have any hand in this by allowing these anchors to kind of run wild and to say all kinds of crazy stuff? And let's be honest, guys, they've said really crazy stuff, really, really bad stuff, heinous stuff. The contrast with some of the most horrific figures in history has been made over and over again on that show, and no one calls them out. So at some point, management must have made a decision. Wait a second. We need to think about this. We need to think about this twice. According to CNN, I'll quote, they said that the network wanted to, quote, avoid a scenario in which one of the show's stable of 24 plus guests might make an inappropriate comment on live television. That's not a reason. You know why that's not a reason? Because all you do is you cancel the guests, for goodness sakes. You restack the lineup. It's breaking news. We got to change what we're doing. The truth is they did not trust neither Mika nor Joe. That's a pretty big deal. Steve Krakauer, I've played this sound for you. I want you to hear it. He is a media sort of watcher, expert. here he is on News Nation talking about just what went down with this signature morning show.
Weekend on MSNBC were stopped, right? So there was no Jen Psaki show or others that yesterday. They removed them in favor of covering the breaking news, which I think makes perfect sense. But that is completely different than going on, as you mentioned, the flagship show, Morning Joe, now was on the air for 4 hours, is actually technically responsible for the hour even before it goes on, a 5-hour block of programming that reportedly, based on CNN and other reporting, they don't trust. And you mentioned the guests. They have got 24 guests, but they didn't necessarily say just that they don't trust the guests. They don't trust necessarily the hosts, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, not to say something wildly irresponsible that may smear or tarnish the reputation of the entire program and then the entire network. That speaks, and yes, it's breaking news. Obviously, an assassination attempt on a former president and the current nominee is an enormous breaking news story. But if you can't trust Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski to lead a news coverage of that, what does that say about the program itself and the network itself, which every night when it comes to breaking news or a big political night and primetime is led by its opinion hosts as well. So I think this is enormous right now.
So why isn't it just enough to have it on delay, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, something like that? If it's, you hit the alarm bell, you hit the red button.
I think it's an admission. It's an admission of something significant here, that when the stakes are high enough, that the adults in the room get involved. There's reporting that Cesar Conde, who is like the big boss of MSNBC and NBC and a nearly Comcast level place, is getting involved in this sort of decision making to say, wait a second. What are we doing here? Do we trust the people that we have normally manning the ship when politics is all fun and games to also cover what is an incredibly important story? I heard Bill O'Reilly on here talking about how grateful he is to be involved in News Nation and how that's a model. I think that's true. There is a media apparatus that's been existing for a very long time, but certainly in the last 8 years since Donald Trump got on the stage, it's really about covering politics as entertainment.
Incredible. That's exactly what the problem has been. In other words, politics has been entertainment. And, look, Donald Trump's entertaining. I get it. But at some point, this kind of jumped the shark, so to speak. And so Steve is right on. That is a spot on comment to say. I do think this was kind of a major admission. I mean, think about it. NBC News making a decision to take its flagship morning show off the air tells you they don't trust their flagship morning show. So then I would just ask, why the heck is the flagship morning show on the air? Thank you very much. Are you not a news network? Just own up to it. Admit it, guys. You're not a news network. Effectively, that is what they just did. Consider that. Massive.